You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
All right, everybody. It's good to have you back. We are Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. We talk about movies and comics and TV and all sorts of stuff. My name is Jordan Lou.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. I love freaking movies.
Summertime. Summertime.
This is the summer of movies.
It is. It really is. We're making it that way.
Last year was the summer of Morbius. This year it's the summer of movies. All the other movies than Morbius.
All these strikes haven't affected them yet, so we're not going to ever have any more movies.
This is the last summer of movies.
Ever. Seth, how are you feeling about your, you want to talk about your Regal Pass?
Well, so far so good. Yes, yeah. I signed up for the Regal Unlimited. That's the only theater I have access to around here. Really is Regal. So I like the idea. It's basically after taxes, I'm paying $20 a month. I have to do 3 months. So I looked at how many movies I was going to see for sure, which is a bunch. And it worked out to me saving at least 50% as I would have going when I want to go. So I did it. I went and watched. I got it right before we booked Spider-Verse, and it worked slick as a whistle. My son got it also, and that works really well. You just like hook up as friends. So when I buy a ticket, I can just pick him. And his girlfriend went with us to Spider-Verse, so I just was able to just buy her ticket along with ours. And yeah, and then he and I went and saw Transformers the next week for nothing. You know, it's like $1 service fee or something. So far, so great.
Yeah, I also got it. I didn't tell you guys that.
No.
Wow.
But I got it last weekend.
That's why you're popping down this stuff. You're like, hey, I might go see this. Hey, I'm gonna go. I just went to. I'm like, oh, this all makes sense. I'm slow.
Yeah,
I'm slow.
Yeah. So
I was gonna make a big deal about what is this new Cliff that's going to all these movies? He doesn't even normally see Pixar movies even anymore. Yeah. Now he's going. That's what it is.
I'm trying to rewind it back. The only thing I don't like is I like using the app. You can book basically 3 movies at one time, like, you know,
up to 3. You can
to 3.
You can max out there. Yeah.
But if you use the app, which they encourage you to do, they charge you like 54 cents as a convenience fee.
Yeah, what's that crap? It's supposed to be unlimited.
Right, exactly. So it's a little false advertising. That ticks me off a little bit. Yeah, definitely thumbs down on that part. But overall, it's unfortunate that, you know, we still don't have our theater here in town, and I could use this there. I would be loving it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But yeah, so I've been going to the movies too, way more than I normally do in the last few years.
It's gonna be a good summer. It's gonna be a good summer. The 50 cents is negligible to me. Like
not when you're paying $20 for unlimited movies. Then they start charging fees.
It's kind of the principle of it.
But a ticket's $15.
That's true.
Believe me, I know.
It's ridiculous how much they are. So
I did not sign up for this. I did the math, and June it would have been great, but the rest of the summer I didn't think there were enough for me to get to them all that many times. But I did think I was winning with their Tuesday deal. All right, they have the same. You know, Marietta used to have the cheap Tuesday tickets. Well, I found out Regal does as well. Hey, cool. I'm gonna wait and go see Spider-Verse on a Tuesday. Make it $6. Perfect. So I look up, you have to be a Crown Club member. So I look up and I'm like, you can sign up online. Yeah. And everywhere online is like, just show your card for this, use your card for this, have a card for this. I'm like, if I sign up now, I'm not going to have a card by the time the movie can. It's like, I'll just go down there and sign up. My antiquated thinking, of course.
No.
So So I was going to go to the 8:30 show.
It's like when I tried to go to the post office thinking they would help me.
No, that's
Right.
You're doomed to failure from the beginning.
Right.
So I close at 7. I do my Tuesday night work, getting ready for Wednesday. I'm listening to the ball game. It's the first game, new number 1 prospect in baseball. Ellie De La Cruz is playing for the Reds, and I was going to miss it to go see this movie, but it saved me a lot of money, so that's all right. So I listened to his first 2 at-bats on the radio. It's about 20 to 8. I'm like, perfect. Hit a drive-through, head to Parkersburg. Well, I did not factor in the length of time it takes to get through Taco Bell. That's my fatal flaw. Taco Bell is the slowest drive-through in town. So I barely made it to the movie in time. There are 2 people ahead of me in line. And of course, buying tickets is the slowest process in the world for some reason. The guys ahead of me had to have their phones out. Oh, I want to redeem my points for this. Oh, for 50 cents more, you can go from a medium to a large. No. Okay, that's cool. Oh, do you want the Miguel O'Hara or do you want the Gwen Stacy pop topper? It's like, oh, you got to get the Gwen, dude. Okay, I'll get it. So, yeah, it took 20 minutes for these 2 idiots to get through the line. The register next to him opened. He's like, I can take anybody if they're paying with card. Of course, I'm paying with cash because I'm an 80-year-old man. Nope, I can't jump to. So the guy behind me gets to go ahead and line. So I finally get to, the movie's at 8:30. I know there's a lot of trailers there.
It's crazy. There's like 20 minutes of trailer.
It was already well after 8:30. So I know I have missed, which I don't mind missing a couple trailers.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, so you have to be a Crown Club member to get the discount? Yes. I said, how long does that take to sign up? Oh, not long at all. Just get your phone out, get the app.
Gotta use the app.
And I said, oh, how do you get the card? He's like, oh, there is no card.
No, there's no card.
I was like, oh, of course not. Of course there's not a card. I based my whole
When you said that earlier, I was like, what card? It's on the app.
It's a digital card.
Right. So my whole plan was to based around obtaining this card that does not exist. So I'm like, I am not stepping aside into the lobby and getting back in line. And I was like, I'll just pay full price. That's fine.
I am not getting my abacus out.
Like, well, would you like to upgrade to it? No. Well, would you like to use it? No. Give me a ticket. And then there were still 10 minutes trailers, but I was.
But you got to see that great movie quote commercial that makes me want to kill myself every time.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's so bad.
But the next day I signed up for the thing, so I'll get my cheap Tuesday movies finally.
Good. Meanwhile, this experience is nothing like what I experienced because I always have my tickets before I get there. Walk in, have my phone open, they scan it, go, get your ass in there. Get your pretty little ass in there.
50 cents, please.
I don't even notice it. I don't even know that happened ever.
Tonight, I because I was going to an early, showing. I'm the only one home tonight, so I was like, I'm just gonna leave directly from work, hit the 6:10 showing. So I'm looking on my app to see if how full it is, whether or not I need to spend that 54 cents or wait till I get there.
Wow.
Needless to say, I waited till I got there. It was good though. It's good. Overall, didn't cost me a dime. I did, that I hadn't already paid. I did not get any popcorn or anything because I had a few minutes before I got there tonight to the theater, and I stopped at the pizza place there in the mall. And she said, do you have a rewards number you can use? And I said, well,
it's not a card. It's not a card.
Yeah, it's 7. My number's
a greasy card.
I gave her a phone number that I thought it might be an old phone number. We don't have it anymore. And she goes, oh, huh.
You have 1 million points.
She goes, you have a $10 rewards.
Oh, man.
$10 off you can use. I was like, I would like to use that, please. And it did not cost me a dime for dinner. So
nice.
Other than the gas, I made out okay.
Best summer of our lives is coming up. This is it. This is as good as it gets from our lives going forward. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna update you here on some box office here. This is today pre-Flash, pre-Elemental.
Yeah. For anybody that hasn't listened to that episode, just to catch you up.
Yes,
we did
is
a
about
prediction.
Our box office wager. What movies are going to make the most money domestically this summer?
Top 10.
Yeah. So we all it's us three and Street Level Starcher. So currently, still in first place is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with $339 million. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at number 2. This is just going right in line with Cliff's list. 250 mil. Then I'm gonna look at Cliff's list now. A little drop here at 3. We got The Little Mermaid, 241. So Spider-Verse passed The Little Mermaid. And we got Fast 10 or whatever with 140. Transformers with 80 million. That's pretty good. Then a bunch of garbage. That won't be there at the end. So a lot of stuff that we said is on there. Just we'll see where they all fall to. Things are coming out so fast now, though. Some of these things are going to stop making money. We will see where they land.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for because we did the we did the top 10, and then we picked 3 dark horses after that, and I was looking.
You did
for
have Transformers
as a dark horse, but I was looking for a better showing of the Machine.
Yeah.
That I looked one day and it was not doing well. So
yeah.
I saw an interview with him scrolling past my feed. He was talking to Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And Kreischer was like, I don't know anything about movies, and they asked me, what's your expectation for opening weekend? He's like, I don't know anything about it. He's like, I don't know, 150 million. and they laughed at him. It's like, oh, you're gonna make Guardians of the Galaxy money? He's like, I don't know, maybe.
He's crazy. All right. So we had a bunch of Marvel movie dates shuffle around recently. I know. Like this year, Free Comic Book Day, we had Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was the movie, and next year was slated for Captain America Brave New World, I believe is the current title. That got pushed back along with basically everything else in that phase, and pushed up is Deadpool 3. So because they're the only ones like defying the writer strike and still making a movie. So I don't know how that works, how they're justifying that, except they're acting like they're not changing any of the script, and which seems odd for a very heavily ad-libbed movie.
Yeah,
I would think.
Ryan Reynolds cannot ad-lib anything. It's like,
yeah, right. That's happening. So that I was surprised to see that is the Free Comic Book Day movie.
That didn't throw me too much because all these movies seem so far in the future, like another year here, another year there. It's like, I don't know. It's all It's all so far ahead. So
who knows? I laughed when I saw they announced what Avatar 5 is 2031. I was like, shut up. Shut up. You don't get to say anything like that. What first? What are we talking about first?
We can review some of these movies, or I've got a little comic book news that ties in.
Well, give us a comic book newsy. We like those.
First story, we're talking about Across the Spider-Verse. Well, if you like Spider-Man at all as a character or a concept, probably owe some of that to artist John Romita Sr., who just passed away last week at the age of 93. So had a good run. Was a beloved figure, and again, we've lost pretty much that whole generation of creators. He was one of the last from that original Marvel bullpen. He started work at 19 years old in 1949 with Famous Funnies, and spent the 50s working on romance comics and war comics for National and Timely, which became DC and Marvel. So he predated even the names DC and Marvel. So he joined Marvel full-time in 1966 as an artist on Daredevil, and then took over when Steve Ditko abruptly left Amazing Spider-Man. Ditko's last was 38, so he took over this issue 39. So this guy took over for the original creator of Spider-Man, co-creator, in a very tumultuous time in the middle of a story. This was the Green Goblin story. Ditko didn't like Stan's idea to make it Harry Osborn, so took over for the creator in the middle of a storyline while Stan and Steve were not even talking. So it was a very tumultuous time to be taking over one of the most popular comics going. But he did, and his run lasted from 1966 through 1973. He did most of the issues between numbers 39 and 119. And during that run, he introduced Mary Jane Watson, the Kingpin, Rhino, the Shocker, and a ton of others. This is kind of probably the most beloved era on the title. It became, he had this history in romance comics, and he took it and made it more of a soap opera. He upped the romance level and like the workplace drama at the Daily Bugle. He made Pete more attractive. Like Ditko drew him all hunched over with glasses, like a weird little creep. There's like, I'll show you people who bully me, and Romita made him like a romantic leading man and had love triangles and all of this drama. And he modernized the fashion a lot too. Like, Pete always wore the ugly sweater vests and stuff, and the women looked like they were from the 50s, in those early runs. But like, he gave the more mod 60s style. The women were all fashionable. So it just became way more popular at this point and kind of became, I think, what people think of. That's the classic Silver Age Spider-Man, even though, Ditko created it, but, John Romita perfected it. So 1973, he became Marvel's art director, a position he held through the rest of the 70s and 80s, where he designed the looks for iconic characters, including Wolverine, the Punisher, Bullseye, Black Widow, and again, tons of others. So a huge, important part, not there from the beginning of the Marvel bullpen, but really helped cement, for decades to come, what Marvel was and could be.
Yeah, I saw today somebody had posted a picture of his first sketch of Mary Jane. I was like, that should be in a museum. Like, that's iconic. So yeah, he is this. Yeah, you said it all. He's the quintessential, when you think of what Spider-Man looks like in the suit, even like the shape of his head, everything is like, that's Romita. So,
and of course, the father to John Romita Jr., who went on to have a long, iconic career.
Yeah, amazing. He's just equally up there. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I posted on my pages he's part of Marvel's Mount Rushmore. I don't think there's any debate. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, John Romita. Like, those are the four men who Marvel is, their shoulders are what everybody else stood on. So 93 is nothing to sneeze at, but still a loss for the comic world. And we had another big surprise in the comic world this week. From old P.T. Barnum himself, Mr. Robert Kirkman had another trick to pull on the comic buying people. He loves gimmicks. He loves story. Like, he doesn't like to just solicit a book and put it out. He wants to do something different to surprise and delight people. So a while back, they solicited this new book called Void Rivals from his company at Skybound, which is an imprint of Image Comics. And it was been in the works for over a year. And there were rumors, he called it, I forget how they word it, but it's the first part of a new interconnected universe. But nothing about the art or the characters or the solicit made it look like anything else. So there were rumors, people thought, is he going back to Walking Dead? Is he going to explain the origin of the zombie virus with some sci-fi story? Is it going to bring all these Image characters, Spawn and Savage Dragon, that kind of stuff? The leading rumor was more Invincible, because he has gone back to the well for that for a couple of times. The show has made the book much more visible recently, so I thought, maybe he's going back to do some more Invincible stories. Is going to tie it in with this other stuff. But it was none of that. News actually broke a they held the secret for, I think, as long as humanly possible, but news broke a couple of days before it came out. This is actually the kickstart of the, quote, Energon universe. So halfway through, there's a story, these two sci-fi dudes end up wrecked on a planet. Their ship has wrecked, and as they're trying to survive, a Transformer shows up. They meet Jetfire. So in the middle of this indie sci-fi Image comic, we get one of the biggest IP, toy properties ever made. We got Transformers. So it was kind of a shock to people.
I had you pull that for me. I think it was a couple. Was it a guy and a girl? That was a guy and a girl.
Oh yeah.
And two different ships, but they wrecked and or something. And I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was good. I was hyped. I was excited that it was a good issue and not just trash surrounding the surprise. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It's supposed to take a while to get there, though. We have several months before. Would I see that there's going to be mini series? A Duke mini series?
Yeah, it's a little weird. The launch is a little weird, but so Kirkman's very excited. He's an '80s kid. He's of our generation. So he said, quote, "It's really going back to the beginning, starting these characters off fresh. We're going to be adapting a lot of familiar stories from the comics and TV shows and things like that. So there will be character introductions that are familiar, updated retellings of your favorite episodes of Transformers and G.I. Joe, but also they will dovetail into completely new stories." So I didn't love that. The idea, he's calling it like Ultimates, Marvel Ultimates style, where it's updating, we're kind of completely rebooting from the beginning, and we're going to tell these classic stories, but in a modern way. And I don't know, I don't always like that. I don't always feel like you need that, but I'm gonna hold out judgment.
It says what Transformers comes out in October. Then
so it's gonna be 4 connected series to start with. So Void Rivals is part of it. That's the one by Kirkman and artist Lorenzo De Felici. And then
we'll get that for a few months. Yeah.
The Transformers will be the next to launch in October, and that'll be an ongoing by Daniel Warren Johnson. And if you've never seen his art, he's wild. He draws like barbarians and the craziest stuff. So like I don't see him as a very precise, here's all the gears on the Transformer legs, but he brings a whole lot of energy to his books, and he's a real fun artist. So I think this could be cool. So that'll be an ongoing. And that one they solicit as Optimus Prime was supposed to have led the Autobots to victory. Instead, the fate of Cybertron is unknown, and his allies have crash-landed far from home alongside their enemies, the Decepticons. As they renew their war on Earth, new alliances are struck, battle lines are redrawn, and humanity's only hope of survival is Optimus Prime. So again, we're going back to the beginning. This is Earth is just finding out about these guys. So then we're going to have a bunch of 4 G.I. Joe miniseries, starting with Duke in December by Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. So that's the first of 4 interconnected Joe series set in the same world. So in a world grappling with the arrival of the Autobots and Decepticons, Conrad Hauser, codenamed Duke, investigates the mysteries behind the Transformers, leading to the birth of forces for good and evil that the world never imagined. So this is the idea. There was no G.I. Joe up until, whatever happens with the Transformers is going to spark the creation of G.I. Joe. So love that or hate it, I guess we'll see. And then in January, we're getting 4-issue Cobra Commander miniseries by Williamson and Andrea Milana. In a world where Cobra doesn't exist, a sinister figure is trying to use the alien element Energon for nefarious purposes. So this, I guess, is the formate where these 2 miniseries will be the formation of the Joes and the Cobras. And then the original press release said 2 more minis and 1 secret ongoing will be announced at a later date. But I think we already have the secret ongoing because that was announced the other day. Larry Hama is returning to G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, with issue 301 to continue his run that started at Marvel, went to IDW, and is now at Image with artist Chris Mooneyham. And covers by Andy Kubert. A jumping on point for new readers as your favorite characters are back for new battles, new friends, new enemies, and the return of the original Snake Eyes. So this wasn't a secret. We who spoke with Larry Hama and heard him tell us directly he was working on 301
Yeah,
already knew
true.
it. We were just waiting. We were waiting for the reveal.
We were on the spot when it happened.
It's official. We're getting more. And
Yeah.
300 issues. I mean, that's the benchmark Dave Sim hit with Cerebus back in the 80s. Is like when he stopped at issue 300, that was the longest running indie comic of all time, written and drawn by one person. And then Spawn hit issue 300, and Todd McFarlane made a huge deal, the record-breaking 300. So there's not a lot of books that have lasted that long. And Spawn certainly, McFarlane didn't write or draw every issue of Spawn. So having Larry draw 99.9% of these books is pretty amazing feat. So it's cool he gets to continue. Just let him go as long as he wants.
Did you say there was more miniseries?
There's two more of these initial 4. They just haven't announced them yet.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I hadn't heard. But this his G.I. Joe thing is a totally different thing than their G.I. Joe.
Yes, this will be out of continuity. This is Larry's continuity. Same way
Right.
IDW always had 2 books running, or usually had 2 books running.
Gotcha.
They had a more modern that they kept rebooting and trying to do, and then just let Larry do his own thing. Whatever. I swear he still references like Vietnam and stuff. Like the characters, like, oh yeah, like when we were in Nam. It's like, are you 100 years old? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's all the same continuity.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely paying attention here. It's an all or nothing thing. It's like, man, do I go and start get all these miniseries and try to follow all this stuff, or it's gonna? I'm sure I will pick up the first issues of these, and I hope they grab me.
Well, I have been down this road before, in the lifetime of this podcast. If you guys remember talking about the Hasbro verse they were going to do with the movies and the comics and
right, with ROM and Micronauts and all that.
Visionaries plus G.I. Joe, Transformers, and they did come out with the comics. Like that was the first step, and I liked those comics, but it just petered out very, very quickly, and the movies never really came about. They didn't get very far with it, but it's always a fun idea, especially for, if you grew up on that stuff. But yeah, I mean, bring it on. I hope it's good. But fool me once.
So you're not starting a full list, is what you're saying.
Probably not yet. Like I have way more confidence in Larry Hama than I do all this other stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, he'll still be going to issue 500, and this stuff will be rebooted 10.
Right. So, but they've, I mean, in a way that things have already started to tie in, and things are happening, in books and in movies, and
you guys both got out to see the new Transformers movie, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I did not. I've not seen any of them since the first one, so feel free. Spoil
Really?
away. I'm okay.
Okay.
We're in the middle of an ongoing war. We'd love to have the big guys join the fight.
Roll out! Wow, that was corny when I said it out loud. Oh yeah. You've never faced anything like this. On guard. It's about to go down. On guard. It's about to go down. On guard. It's about to go. It's about to go. It's about to go down. Who won't smoke? Who won't smoke? Who got toy hoe? I'm the king. So everybody is kick strap and they all go. Keep it still till I bridge poppy, but I ain't a troll. Everybody out here playing for no hoe.
If you keep your eyes open, life will show you everything you need to know.
Now that's top tier manifestation.
Commander on the banter, just one answer, I'm an animal. Gorillas in the trap with them. We fighting this alone or we fighting it together?
Together.
Let's get it. Turn it up to to the maximum.
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, turn it up.
I'm never leaving Brooklyn again.
On my soul.
I mean, I have not seen all of them. I will admit, I have not seen all of the Transformers.
I haven't seen the last couple for sure.
Yeah. So this was, but this one's a little different. You know, they've moved on from Michael Bay a few years ago, and I think he's still a producer on these movies. Maybe, perhaps, but I'm not sure. But anyways, yeah, we're getting different actors and different characters now, and teaming up with the Autobots, and I think this one had a little bit of hype behind it, just from probably a little younger age group than the three of us. But Beast Wars was kind of I think that was a benchmark in the Transformers. I mean, they really made a comeback there in the late 90s with this show being one of the first all computer animated cartoons out there. So I was
I don't know any of that. Like, I never paid any attention to
no
like I said, I was a G.I. Joe guy. I knew Transformers back in the day, when the toys first came out and stuff, but I don't know all the cartoon Beast War whatevers. But anyway, I probably wouldn't have even went and seen the movie if I didn't have Regal Unlimited. But we're like, we gotta get our
50 cents.
We gotta get our money's worth. Let's go. We went down there, and I'm thrilled that I did. The movie was extremely fine. It was not anything to write home about. Pretty cookie cutter, MacGuffin-y. But I did like Anthony Ramos as the lead. He was very charismatic and he was giving it everything. He was very believable. He was not acting like he was in some goofball action movie. He was playing it straight and hard, like emotional, and I applaud that. And that Dominique Fishback too, kind of as the second lead, she was very good also. So
she was fine. Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it was a fun movie. It's actiony fun movie, silly Transformers. But
possibly the best use of Pete Davidson to
possibly.
Yeah. He's the voice of Mirage. And was funny.
Yeah,
it was funny. It was really good. It's just like, wow, like he's actually, might be the best thing I've ever liked about Pete Davidson.
Was the car covered in crappy tattoos?
No,
yes, it was something. Michelle Yeoh as a freaking metal eagle or something. I don't know, but it was really had a little gravitas to that role just because it was her voice. Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal. Peter Cullen, of course. Like they threw some peeps at it, but I mean, cut to the chase. It's a good, fine Transformers movie. Nothing special. Totally fine.
Yeah,
totally fine. And he has his brother who he's talking to at home on the walkie-talkie. Okay, makes no sense that this walkie-talkie you can talk hundreds of miles away, whatever. But he's obviously calling his little brother Tails early in the movie, and I of course that's a Sonic reference, Sonic and Tails, and then some part in the movie, then he's finally calling him Sonic, and I'm like, okay, well that's obvious, they go on, and they keep saying, his brother's telling him, don't say your name,
don't use real names over the
no names on the airwaves, and totally over my head. Like, I never put two and two together. This, like,
I didn't either.
I swear to God, there is a thing going around on Twitter this week of what's the biggest twist in a movie ever. And like I want to say, Transformers. It's like it's stupid and it is hyperbole to say that, but I was never so surprised as when at the end of this movie. And that's stupid. If I watch it back, I'll be like this is so whatever. It's so nothing throwaway. But I wasn't expecting it to the very second it's revealed. It was not on my radar. And the whole crowd lost their shit. I thought I would be the only person in there that even cared. But again, this is Thursday night, day before the movie even comes out opening. So these are the people that they came that night to their Transformers fans. Yeah. So I shouldn't be that surprised, but the whole place was like, what? For no reason. This will never pay off. I mean, really, really pay off. But to spoil this, of course, we get to the end, he saves the world, whatever, and he's been trying to get a job the whole movie, and he finally gives an interview, and it's got whatever, I can't think of the actor's name, some white guy, and he's just like, hey, you saved the world. We know you saved the world. No. He's playing it off. He's like, we know you did, just want to say thanks.
We know about your friends. Yeah.
All that stuff. And they walk over, and he's like, shows it, he goes to leave the room and is out this door, and next thing that they reveal this sunken garage. Still nothing, not on my radar. And he starts to lower himself down into it and says something about no names on the airwaves. That's actually a good idea. And he has handed him a card, his business card, and Anthony Ramos flips it over and it says G.I. Joe, and I was like, what? I was expecting it to have the Transformers symbol or something on it.
It was supposed to be. We lost Jordan, but
we lost Jordan.
It was supposed to, it was going to be Nest on the when he okay, we know Transformers. We know what this is going to be. Totally, I had no clue. I had no clue. No idea. Like you literally did. I mean, didn't or like it was amazing. So it was stupid and whatever, but. And I do totally think we're getting a Transformers G.I. Joe movie next. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here he comes. But I do totally think yes, like the next movie is going to be G.I. Joe and Transformers, and that's amazing.
Has to be.
No matter how shitty it is, it was all worth this.
You can't throw down that card and then not make that movie. Like it has to be made now.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, my notes on the movie itself. I agree. I really like Anthony Ramos as an actor. I like him on screen. No comment about him. I've no whatever. Personally, he may not be the best dude. Whatever, but on screen, Hamilton, In the Heights, Transformers, he's been great. I'm all in on screen. And the other thing was the Autobots were way too small, and it bugged me. The Maximals were way too big, and that bugged me. The Maximals who transform into animals should not be bigger than the freaking
it was
semi-truck.
Silly.
It was totally silly.
So they did set up like a way to make this. I was having such a hard time watching the movie because whenever you have these, the people are at such risk. Everything is smash, bang, crush, and the people are exposed.
Mm-hmm.
So when they made this is set in 1994 or something like that. Like these movies are set Transformers movies,
right?
Like we're like all that stuff's garbage. We're starting over is what they're doing, and so you're like, okay, Optimus Prime. There's a lot of people, what Bumblebee is hurt. He ain't gonna die because he's in all these movies,
right.
And
predetermined.
And who we haven't seen, this guy. So he's probably gonna die or whatever, But they made that good use of giving him that exoskeleton thing at the end. I was like, okay, this once there's the reveal of G.I. Joe, I was like, okay, this is how they're going to meld these things together, kind of.
Yeah.
And let these people have some sort of suits or whatever.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of that first G.I. Joe movie.
Well, I do have a question. What?
Yeah.
I looked up afterwards. What's a Sonic fighter? Because they were calling him Sonic. I didn't know whether that was supposed to be any tied to these G.I.
No.
There's something called from G.I. Joe called Sonic Fighters. I'm sure Jesse's team of G.I. Joe people will know all about it.
Yeah, they can tell us about it. Listen to source material for that. But I know there's a history of Transformers where there was a kid character that had that type of suit. That was in like a Transformers type, Iron Man body armor type suit. So at one point, so I did see some after I'd watched the movie, saw somebody reference that. But yeah, overall, that was really it. I don't have any big nitpicks other than the size ratio things, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more screen time for some of those characters, especially being, the first time they've been shown. Rhinox was always a cool Transformer guy on Beast Wars, and Cheetor, and they're really just kind of in the background for the most part. And the same thing, they did a really strange change of character with Wheeljack, making him, giving him a South American accent, making him a bus and stuff. But I thought he looked cool. So that I actually would have liked to seen a little bit more of the other characters other than Optimus and Mirage and whatnot. So, but yeah, I liked it.
It was just a check on that summer of movies.
It really was. It got. I
have it at number 10 on my list, so I thought I'd better throw it 50 cents.
Yeah. Oh, he found it.
Sonic Fighters Amphibious Operations.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm referring to. I don't know what.
Well, the kid in the movie, his younger brother who has, I forget what, he has a disease of some sort.
Right.
He's playing video games all the time, but it hurts his hands, which are affected by the disease. And I just took it as that, a young kid playing video games all the time, and that's what he wanted to do or whatever. So I didn't think much more of it than that. So.
Well, somebody is.
Also, of course.
So, all in all, positive experience.
Electronic Supersonic Fighter push button. It's 4 sonic sounds, electronic lights, and 4 battle sounds.
Whoa, that's a cool backpack. With
it looks like this was like early 90s when it was starting to fade a little bit.
I had that rock and roll in a different paint scape.
So Joe Pedia says the Sonic Fighters, the specially trained frontline fighters blast into action equipped with a devastating arsenal of battle-ready weapons. Take command of these frontline commandos and put the sounds of battle at your fingertips.
That's probably like about, the time they got into Eco Warriors and Space Guys and all that stuff. So
trivia: the Sonic Fighters file cards were all written in-house at Hasbro, not by Larry Hama.
Oh,
he was only sent the cards to edit after they were created. So it's like Larry Hama's like, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, don't like that.
I don't want anything to do with this or your Transformers Garanimals or whatever they are. Oh, what else? Did Cliff? Did you see Spider-Verse?
I did.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, surprisingly, I did. But that's only because I had the Regal Pass.
We all three. Yes, we all three.
My name's Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man. And things are going great.
He's going to be here any minute.
Should be simple enough.
Give me your money.
So are you like a cow or a Dalmatian?
Spider-Man!
I am the Spot.
It's not funny. Don't do that.
There's bubbles now. Hold on.
think I want this costume anymore.
Oh, in a minute. I wrote it all as one word. It's cute, right? The youth.
How's this going?
Miles?
Solid. What do we always
woo, woo.
Miles' grades are pretty good. A in AP Physics.
That's my little man.
And a B in Spanish.
What? Ooh, okay.
Miles.
Are you trying
Mira,
to
eso es imposible.
Okay.
I gotta go. All right, bye.
Miles!
Gwen?
Want to get out of here? Welcome to Spider Society.
I'm Spider-Man.
Oh, no way. All of us are. Meet Miguel O'Hara.
He's like a ninja vampire Spider-Man, but a good guy. Plus, he's like such a good leader.
Miles, there's moments in our stories that are the same for all of us. Some good.
Did you bring our baby to another fight?
I knew I was going to regret making her that web shooter. He asked me not to, so I wouldn't.
Some bad. You have a choice between saving one person and saving every world. To me, that's an obvious choice.
Send me home.
I can't do that.
I can do both!
All stations, stop Spider-Man!
You? What, me?
Miles!
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Can this day get weirder? I guess it can.
There's nowhere to run.
Sorry.
My bad, everybody. There was somewhere to run.
So
Loved it.
people loved it. It's a big hit. Bigger hit than we thought. Bigger hit than everybody but Cliff thought. And what'd you think of it? I mean, you don't like Spider-Man, so I'm expecting you to not like it.
No, I thought I liked the story. You know, I did like the story. I thought the characters were cool. The animation still bugs me. I thought it was better, but it's so many different styles, and it's all moving so fast. It bugs me.
I liked that a lot. I liked all the different styles. Like when Gwen was talking to her dad, and it looked like the painted pinks and oranges that, you know, her comic book, that's how it's drawn. But that was a nice slow scene of two people talking, like, and it looked beautiful. But yeah, the faster it went, the more you added, like, it became a little much. But I liked each person having a different feel and texture and animation style.
Every world having a different
right.
look. Every screen capture had like little boxes with other things going on. Like I wouldn't even know how you would storyboard this movie.
No. And the camera moving constantly. And I think like I said, I liked the movie, but the parts that bugged me, I think, come from, I personally am much more of a like watch the movie or watch the cartoon guy than I am read the comic book guy. And so when I go to watch a movie, I expect it to look more like a movie or a cartoon that I grew up on and devoted my time to, and where everything looks a certain way. And I think that's why it bugs me. It's just, it's, you know, it's like we've just ripped out pages of a bunch of different comic books and then glued them all on the same background. And that's probably why you guys like it, you know.
Yeah, that's not a criticism. A lot of people wouldn't view that as a criticism.
Right.
But yeah, it's personal taste. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. Same way I really liked the first one. But there were parts where it was too much. And I like the action and the craziness and the freneticness, but like you can't do that the whole time. Like he and Gwen, hey, let's talk. Oh no, we got to fall over backwards off a building, and I lost my shoe. I got to web it. Like it never stops ever. He gets the cake. He has to deliver the cake, and it's a 10-minute scene of him tripping and getting the cake and climbing up the wall and trying to hide. And it's like, just relax a second. Like,
yeah.
And for being such a long film, even cool stuff kind of overstayed its welcome sometimes because it was just so long. They didn't want to cut anything. They liked it all too much. And I was just, there were parts I just felt a little bit overwhelmed. And especially, we're going to talk a few spoilers, but yeah, we get into the spider, spider heavy. You could watch that movie 10 times and not catch half the stuff that's on the screen. So it's like, is it even, what's the point if people can't even catch what you're trying to do, and the panel or the captions come up so fast you can't even read them?
Yeah,
it's like if I have to sit there with a pause button like we're watching Riverdale.
This ain't Riverdale. I was just getting ready to say, this ain't Riverdale.
Oh crap! This is Riverdale.
I'm not putting that kind of effort into this movie.
Welcome to my TED Talk. This is Riverdale.
So yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it nails the character stuff. I think the characters have grown since we've last seen them. I think it gets them perfectly right from their comic book origins. Visually, it's a lot. There's a lot to enjoy there. But I was just not as into the story as I was the first one. Like that first one, I know we talked about it being, the hero's journey, and it's anyone can wear the mask. And this is Miles learning that he has the power inside him and all this stuff. And this one's about like canon and continuity and like it's kind of meta and inside baseball. And it's like, I know what they're trying to do of like, you don't have to always do what the people tell you to do and that kind of stuff. But just the metaphor just wasn't as strong for me in the second one. And it was a little muddled by how much was going on.
It also, I feel like it also took away a little bit of that from the first one. Like, saying that, oh, anybody can do this or by making it, claiming at this point in the story that he shouldn't have been Spider-Man. It was a mistake. And I don't know.
I would come back against that. I think like he is the point. He is the one proving the fact.
That's where it's going,
we're only halfway. So
right.
The second movie's I'm sure he's going to overcome that.
Yes.
We're going to learn our lessons. But at this point, we only have half the movie. So
I don't know. But we're going to be getting into spoilers here for me to talk about it. So starting now, I freaking loved it. I mean, if I had to say which one I like more, I'd say the first one. It has that leap of faith moment that just takes it over the top for me. And yeah, it's a little slower pace, a little more, this one's pretty personal, but there's so many characters in this one. It's hard to just say Miles, like he is so focused on in that first one. So that I give both these movies a 9 out of 10. We loved it. Nick loved it more than the first one. I loved how they used all that multiverse type stuff even more. And I loved all these new characters. We're getting to see the Daniel Kaluuya's what's that one? Spider-Punk. That's great. Freaking how the animation on that changed the whole time. Loved Gwen. I mean, and there is a leap of faith moment. I mean, where you're talking about where they sit down. I love that moment because where they take the time to web. She has to web down and set upside down, and like the leap of faith there in that upside down world is them trying to hold hands or whatever, like going for it. And
Gwen was a little thin in the first movie. Like we didn't get enough time with her. She just showed up and she was great at everything. And like, she was already a kick butt spider person. And she was kind of the, will they, won't they? So the first was about defining Miles and making him the hero and the household name and making him the breakout star. And this one, again, we started with Gwen doing the drum solo and all that stuff. So like, I feel like this one put the time in to give you more Gwen and build her backstory and make her as good a character as Miles was in the first one.
I can't wait to see it again. I have not had time to go see it again, but the beginning with the drums is like probably my favorite part of the movie. I loved that so much, and it comes back at the end. There was a sound problem nationwide. It was not just us, but it was quiet at the beginning, and people complained. Phil Lord was going around personally, like Tom Cruise, to theaters and handing out pamphlets and saying, we set this to the industry standard. If you just play it at 7 like you're supposed to, but nobody does. And then since then, they've redid it and redigitally sent it to all the theaters. So now if you watch it, supposedly it's supposed to be fixed everywhere. So
well, I just saw it last night.
You would have seen the fixed version.
Yeah,
it was
a
a little quiet at the beginning, originally, but the whole stuff. I like the Miguel O'Hara, is that his name? I like that. I liked he's not a villain necessarily yet. He's just an antagonist that is, he has a point of view so much that he's convinced his closest friends to, like I can't wait to rewatch it and think what Gwen is doing with knowing that she knows from the very beginning of this that she has to stop him. Like she's trying to stop Miles and all this. Like the whole thing with like somebody becoming a captain, are they going to die? Because, the things that have to happen, like I'm telling you that the bomb has to go off under Archie's bed. It's a fixed event. Too many ripples that are going to happen. I was like, this is the deal. This has to happen. In every world, these certain people have to die and all that. And Miles, it's so funny because I heard people talking like, there's so many Spider-Man. What's it even matter? If everybody can be Spider-Man, then how are you special? This is proving that, like, that's the challenge they've given themselves. And that makes you feel even closer to Miles because he's not supposed to be this guy. He's the one that sticks out. He doesn't want any of these things to happen. What he even says, why can't, you can't have your cake and eat it too. They're telling him at his guidance counselor thing. And he's like, why don't you have 2 cakes? Like, you can do both things. I can be Spider-Man, and why does, my dad can live, like all these inconsistencies. He's, and she's saying how, I love the line where she says Gwen always falls for Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, nice. Nice.
I really liked that. I think that worked for me so well of, Miles doing his own thing, being his own man. Because I'm not a huge fan of this multiverse stuff, I feel like it dilutes what's so special about Peter Parker. Like, anyone could have been bitten by that spider that day. If the spider had bitten Flash Thompson, he'd have went and become a wrestler and made a lot of money. But it bit Peter Parker, and it's his core being is what made Spider-Man. So like, that's a destined thing that's going to happen in every multiverse. Like that. I've never been a fan of that. Like, I'm not a huge fan of multiverse stuff anyway.
Right.
But yeah, anything that dilutes that specialist. So to have that specific to Miles is like, no, you were not supposed to be this guy.
Right.
It is your specialness that's going to make you who you are. You're not just a clone of Peter Parker.
That's the whole thing to me. And as far as the incompletion of that idea, I have no problem with that. I mean, I'm so tired of hearing it's half a movie. I'm like, it's a cliffhanger. We know we're getting another part. There's been plenty of movies like that. I saw Back to the Future, and I was super excited. At the end of Back to the Future 2, and I knew 6 months later I was going to be right back there to get the end of this story. Like, I love the twist. They show you the twist. They tell you Earth 42 or whatever, or the 100% they showed us, and everybody I know, it didn't click. And I think he's even like in the end, he like puts his hoodie on or something, and it's like he's got Prowler colors on, because in that world his hoodie's that color and things. Like, it's the whole Silence of the Lambs twist where they're, Jodie Foster isn't really in the right house, and Gwen's not in the right house, in the right world. He's not in the right world, and stuff with his parents is great. His mom's speech is so great. Like, it's just feels so personal to him. I'm just so psyched for this next movie. I got to go back and see this again. I freaking loved it. I like these alternate timeline things and multiverse things. So
Carly,
and the specialness of him being special, him being different, and being able to prove these things wrong. Where you see we see Andrew Garfield and all that in these things. Well, I was like, that's Dennis Leary. What is happening? I was like, yes, give me more.
Carly had she went and saw this. She did not see the first movies, but she went and saw this one and made the comment after she saw it about, well, it's just like a part one. So that I knew going into it that, oh, okay, there's going to be, a continuation of some sort.
We've known that. I thought everybody knew that. So there's so much backlash.
They didn't market it that way. They didn't want you to know that. Or
well, that's because they know you're going to sell us tickets to a part one. They took that out of the title.
Yeah.
They didn't want people to know.
And at the end,
I saw people legitimately, that's bullcrap. What are they doing? Like, people were not happy with that.
Yeah.
But again, it should have been a known quantity, but
that's what happened when I went to go see it. There, when the credits roll, I hear some young girl behind, kind of in the center behind me go, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
well,
whoa.
I mean, it's exactly how it was when Back to the Future 2 came out. We did not know going into that movie that it was basically a part one of two. And it was thrilling. We were freaking thrilled when that happened. So
simpler times.
I love it.
I was super invested when Peter B. Parker showed back up. I loved the payoff to his story, like his character growth of, in the first movie, he was worried about having kids.
Yeah.
And he had left, or he and Mary Jane had broken up. So I was thrilled. I love Jake Johnson. I love that character. And then I'm every time he's on the screen, I'm super invested. I'm like, wait, do I only care about Peter Parker? Is that why? Is that why I'm gravitating?
But that's awesome because he's such an individual Peter Parker. Like they all are, and like his, it's makes sense why he would see things from Miguel's perspective, like how he's convinced him and Gwen. But obviously, they're going to turn their point of view as we go into the next movie. And I expect big things from him, especially as being some sort of hero helping Miles. I love the way the team formed of people that were against the system, like Spider-Punk and the girl that sent him for that Earth or whatever. Kind of a competing love interest with Gwen and who else was there? There was multiple people in his like little team there at the end.
We had he had the Indian Spider-Man and then all pretty much the cast from the first movie and
It was good movie. We're very lucky to have this stuff, to be able to give any criticism on it, because this is top tier stuff to me.
Well, anything else? Any other?
You saw Elemental. Nobody else has had a chance to go see that yet.
Yeah, just saw it tonight. Elemental.
I'll probably don't spoil that one.
Okay.
I'll probably take the kids.
Okay. I don't want to spoil it. And I haven't had really much time to think about it. Okay. I will say, after the previews, this is known. It is known there is a new Pixar short featuring Doug and Mr. Fredricksen from Up.
Okay, all right.
Really loved it.
Good. Excited.
Yeah, it's a little sad because there's no
Up thing.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah. Well,
so strange.
It's a little sad because there's no Ed Asner to provide the voice. They had to get somebody else to do it. But it is sad though, in kind of a happy way. But Carl Fredricksen is DTF'd again, so
what?
There's that. Go see that.
Wow.
But Elemental it's an interesting.
Let the air out of one of them balloons and get busy.
Right. It's interesting. It's if you've seen the previews, maybe you haven't, Seth, but it's about. I've been to a bunch of movies lately. They show it all. Fire, different elements. There's fire people.
What if elements had feelings?
And no. it's elements don't mix. So you have fire people, you have earth people, you have wind or cloud.
Yeah, it's gonna be really woke. I'm all about it. Right. I like woke.
It is too woke for Florida. To take it back a couple. No, it's an immigrant story basically. And it's a good take on that. Probably not one of my absolute, favorite classic Pixar movies of all time, but I thought it was good enough. There was a lot of stuff I enjoyed. Just not maybe as much humor that really kind of hits as some of their other films, but overall it's I enjoyed it.
It's worth 50 cents.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say it's well worth a swipe of the pass.
I think it is. And I'm off all week, so I'm looking to get to the theater.
Well, I'm probably going to go tomorrow, and
I'm going to flash it up Got to get Flash this weekend, and then sometime during the week I'll go see Elemental. Can't wait for all this stuff. And then another week we got Indiana Jones. So.
I still haven't seen The Little Mermaid.
I'm gonna skip that one. But
my son and his girlfriend, they did go see. Talked to them last weekend. They had seen The Little Mermaid and said it was very good. So take that for, what you will. I don't know.
There you go. I think we did it.
The summer of movies. There you have it.
Go out and see some movies. Go see some more
movies.
Watch his money. He liked Spider-Verse. It's making a bunch of money. I hope we all like Steve Guttenberg. That's all I know.
That's right.
That's a quote. I can't get out of my head. Like, what is he gonna make us watch?
Good stuff.
All right, so it's summertime and there's fun stuff happening. We always have clever ideas. Stick around. Hey, we're doing our Marvel countdown. Come back for more of that. We're going to rank all the MCU movies. So do not miss that one. Don't miss any of our episodes. And check our Patreon, check our social medias to see what we're up to. Till then, my name's Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
So, bye forever.
I will say one thing about that Transformers movie. It had a great 90s soundtrack. I was digging the 90s hip-hop soundtrack. I was like, yes, I remember these songs.
Yeah, there was a couple things I've forgotten. I remember laughing out loud at a couple things. And
I was not trying to escape spoilers. You guys like, okay, here's what happened, and then I cut out. Like, I don't know what happened in my feed.
That was funny. Good timing. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast at gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.